Hello, here we are. How you guys doing? You feeling more balanced? You let go completely of needing to be balanced. A little bit low in frame. There we go. Hey, Sister Jane. Just got off the call 15 minutes ago or so for our, extended light language session as part of the Equinox. Happy Equinox. That was about 5 or 6 hours ago. The Equinox was exact. Probably 6 or 7 hours now. Hey, Donna. Hey, Mary. And here we are. I'm just quickly trying to find out if I've got any questions to talk about. I put a poster up. Choosing to maintain a balanced attitude, acceptance and allowance towards an unbalanced situation is a sign of spiritual maturity and essential ingredients for true peace. A bit of wisdom from a few years ago. Yes, but no one's written anything in, so I am free to go. Hey, Donna, glad you enjoyed the call. Awesome, Jane. Thank you. What do you guys want to know now? What do you want to know now? Now's your opportunity to ask questions. Or a request. I can't even speak. Or a request. It's not that hard to say that word, surely. But anyway, yeah. What's up? Crazy energies, right? Whew. Can't say I felt very balanced last night. It wasn't a very peaceful equinox sleep, that's for sure. But anyway, not to worry. Things come and go. It's like this, right? When we talk about this thing of balance, oh yes, I should sleep for 8 hours every night, and there's some doesn't happen, right? Some hours we only sleep some nights we only sleep a couple of hours, and then other nights we sleep 10 or 12. Oh, that's not balanced. It is, because we give ourselves what we need at the time. That's a very balanced thing to do. To allow ourselves to have what we need. And if we're tossing and turning at night, it's not a wrongness, it's generally that we're processing some energy, and that's okay. It's the process. If we just trust that it's not wrong that we're not sleeping, then at least we take a level of stress off the situation. Yeah, of course we'd all prefer to just sleep peacefully through the night and wake up as fresh as a daisy, but it doesn't always happen. Been in bed all day, Sister Ursula. I will get back to you. I have seen your email this morning, Sister, and I will get back to you and we'll sort that out. We will. Been in bed all day. Yeah, so it's appropriate sometimes. Thanks, Mary. I'm glad you enjoyed the call. So yeah, it's appropriate sometimes. And the point is not to hold ourselves in comparison with these expected shoulds, because it just takes the fun out of life. Life's supposed to be fun. It can be fun to stay in bed all day, especially if you're with someone good. Or not. It can still be fun in bed by yourself all day. Sister Eve. So the point being that there's no rights and wrongs, and there's no supposed to's and shoulds. It's all good. It's all good, and the more that we relax into it being all good, and if we truly feel that it's not all good, then we change something. Right? Then don't be afraid to change something. But don't change it based on the fact that, you think that other people would judge you for what you're doing, or you're not measuring up to the expectations based on the scriptures or the whatever else. What advice would you give my students in my art class? Relax and enjoy, like I give everyone, Mary. It depends. Based on what? I'm being quote unquote enjoying their art more. It's to relax and enjoy your art more, right? Art is a in the moment creative pursuit. It's not an endeavor to create something to be proud of, right? That's what most people F up. And that's why they don't really put their heart and soul into what they're doing artistically in the moment, because they're too worried that if they did that, it wouldn't be good enough, right? So they overly mentalize trying to get the techniques right and make the piece of art look like it is desirable. Sister Sheena. Hi, Matt. Crazy energy last night, little sleep, great opportunity to meditate and catch up with friend in Dublin, Ireland. This is sounding good. Let me find this on my feed so I can... Because if I know when I go, it's trying to hit see more, it just sends me up the thing. I just realised I haven't plugged in this today, so I might do that right now. Just bear with me. If it has a little glitch in the thing, it won't be for long. Just as we flip over to cable rather than being on cellular. There we go. Hopefully that sorted it. This is going to take some time to type. I think you read my question wrong. Oh, that happens from time to time. What advice would you give to my situation? Not my students. What would you give to my situation in my art class? I don't know what your situation is, Mary. How can I answer that question? Anyway, I was going to talk to, I am going to talk to Sheena. Hi, mate. Crazy energy last night, little sleep, great opportunity to meditate, which is perfect, right? I do the same, exactly. And you don't even need to sit up. For me, I just lie still when I'm awake at night. Try not to toss and turn. Try not to get caught up in, I wish I was asleep mentality, and use the opportunity to align myself with the energies that I wish to be aligned with, which is what we call meditation, right? Dublin Island, found her after searching for 14 years. Energies helped us. Awesome. Oh, I see. It was a good opportunity in the middle of the night to catch up with your friend from Dublin because you're from a different part of the world. Yeah, Ursula asked a great question. So will these equinox energies give more balance or bring up what we should be more balanced with? I believe the latter, but I want to rephrase that. I don't think it's what we should be more balanced with, but what's going to happen through the equinox portal of time, and there's a bit going on, and we've got, full moon in a week, and, it's a bit going on. Various astrology with something in retrograde and something doing this and T-square. I look at it occasionally, but I don't profess to understand it. But the point is, this energy right now is highlighting what's out of balance. And that's not necessarily for us to fix and to make balanced, but for us to let it go because it's coming up to be released. It's not coming up to be balanced, but it's coming up to release. Hey, honey. Marie just liked my thing. So she's about to have a yoga class inside the house and I'm out here, right? Anyway, so the equinox energy will bring up what is out of balance so that it can be released, not necessarily so that it can be balanced. It'll give us an opportunity to have a more balanced attitude towards what is out of balance or discordant situations in the world. So understanding what balance is not necessarily that we need to bring it into some sort of balanced ratio. We don't need to do that at all. But for us to maintain a balanced attitude towards it, which basically means an attitude of allowance, that it is okay, even though it's uncomfortable and it's coming up to release. Hopefully that makes sense. Just give me the short version, Mary. Get to the crux of it. Don't put too much story into your question, because I have no idea what your situation is in art, but ask about the generalities of what you desire. So hopefully that helps, Sister Ursula. Yeah. So the important thing is not to expect that we should be feeling balanced at the moment, because I don't think that's appropriate. I think this equinox is all about highlighting out of balances, and that's not for us to feel bad. It's for us to relax into allowing a process to happen, so that a lot of the words that I'm going to be using and have been using a lot around this time, and most what we do anyway, is about relaxing into allowance, right? So this out of balance is to be relaxed into allowance around, so that naturally we find our balance with the experience, even though it's mentally, way off kilter in terms of how we would logically want the world to look, in terms of a balanced world where we have, equality. What else? Who else? Hit me up, friends. Hit me up. Very happy to chat about anything. Typically the weather here is practically, how does release look like? Thanks. Awesome, Eve. And I missed the other name that scrolled through there. It happened so fast. Jodelle. Nice name, sister. Young. It's always good to be young. How does the release look like? Practically, how does the release look like? Release practically looks like acceptance. So a lot of people get caught up in the idea that if something releases, then you kind of feel that it's gone and the birds come off your shoulder, like you've actually put something down. But release really is the letting go of the label. I'm going to read your question in a minute, Mary, don't panic. It's the letting go of the label that something's wrong, really. So release is a lot around acceptance, to be honest, receptance and the letting go of judgment. Hey, Sister Emily, the letting go of judgments of things, because release is achieving freedom from something, which doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have an absence of it. So we can release something, in the terminology that I use, releasing something is not actually getting rid of it, but letting go of the control that it had over you. So when our attitude towards something changes, we've basically released its ability to negatively influence us, for example. So release of a fear is not necessarily getting rid of the fear altogether, so that you'll no longer have an energetic or an emotional reaction to something. Say you're scared of spiders. To release the fear of spiders doesn't necessarily mean to get to the point where there is no charge with spiders, but it's to get to the point where your experience with spiders no longer limits you from doing things, right? You're no longer in a state where you can't do certain things because you're scared there might be a spider there, or if there's a spider there, you can absolutely go nowhere in that room. And so now you're very limited in your in what activities you have available to you because you are scared of spiders. So the release of the fear of spiders is to get to a point where you can see a spider, feel the fear, and go, you know what? This fear of spiders that I have is unrealistic. It's called, there's a lot of questions scrolling through. I'm going to have to catch up on all of this in a minute. And so release is not so much about being devoid of something, but it's being free of it. It's being so that you now have the ability to act despite the fear or despite the resistance, right? So, you know, I talk a lot about releasing the fear of speaking in public. I still feel nervous when I speak in public. There is still anxiety there, but I show up more and more often and speak in public. So it's not that the sensation has gone away, but I'm no longer controlled by that sensation where it prevents me from doing what I know serves me and others to do. So that's freedom, right? Freedom is not the absence of it, it is the ability to step past the resistance. Does that make sense? I'm going to have to quickly click on here so I can go back and see all of these questions. Hang with me. It's going to start making a noise, so we turn that down. And then we... Okay, I'm going to try and go through these in order. Okay, that's what practically how does release look like. Good clarification. Thanks, Eve. Okay, so Mary said, I was in class yesterday and my teacher got upset because I was wearing essential oils as prescribed by my Ayurvedic practitioner and told me today that he had to go home and use his nebulizer for his asthma, and then messaged me that he was going to send my check back because I had my mask under my nose. I told him that I was not even aware that it had fallen below my nose and that he could have just let me know about it. I just want to be able to go there and paint. Yeah, but Mary, there's one thing that I know for sure, it's to avoid places where we're not welcome. That bit of advice is essential, and trying to push your way into somewhere where you are out of resonance with the energy there. You have outgrown that energy, and obviously this teacher wants to keep people controlled and has his own agendas to run, and you are not energetically a great match for him. Time to move on. Time to move on. It's simple. Find somewhere else to go and paint, or paint at home, or okay, so I'll read on. We worked it out, but I feel like there is so much restriction with him and other students as they are all immune compromised. Yeah. It's not your crowd, Mary. There must be somewhere else that you can do art in your area. If not, make something or do something, right? Because if you're overly sacrificing yourself, then it's not going to serve you, right? If you're hanging out with the wrong people, it's going to drag your energy down. If you're having to sacrifice too much of yourself to maintain a relationship, then that relationship's not worth maintaining. That's general advice for all of us, right? We're not here to fit in with people for the sake of fitting in with them. And I know there's always drawbacks to losing relationships or opportunities or various aspects of community, but overall we have to, it always serves us to prioritize our energetic resonance. Hanging out with people who resonate with us is so much more important than having community that somehow gives us what we want, right, from this mental level, but it's not really an energetic match. It's no longer can we compromise energetic match. Now, energy and resonance is everything. It's the foundation to everything. And so trying to compromise your energetic resonance to get the external benefits is not worth it today. It's not worth it today. So more and more often this will become, it'll be, the point will be pushed that we become very, very clearly obvious that we should not be hanging out with certain people because the energies just really start to clash, and we can no longer sort of fudge our way through that. We can no longer just sort of hide ourselves to fit in with them because we like the side benefits. And the side benefits are quite often, an egoic form of feeling security or whatever it is. We maintain friendships because we've had friendships for a long time and we think we should. It's right to maintain them. But if the energies aren't aligned, then they're going to really come up and it's going to be shown to us that this isn't serving us. And so we get the choice to move on and have to, it might seem like an egoic sacrifice to move on, but energetically, it's going to be a great advantage, very advantageous for you to not be subjecting yourself to people who resonate at a vastly different vibration. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Hey, Sister Georgie. Donna. Hey, Matt, you may have mentioned, but the body, which rarely hurts, aches all over. You may have mentioned that the body, which rarely hurts, aches all over, not sick, just feeling the energies intense, especially in the lungs, and I have to lie down. Yeah, I haven't mentioned, but it's not really, but the energies right now are very intense, and please, whatever you do, don't freak out that your body is aching and you're feeling to lie down. And whatever's coming up in your lungs, right, levels and layers of grief or whatever it is, that's okay. Your job is to stay relaxed and to keep breathing and to do whatever you feel to do. It might be rest, and at other times you might feel that perhaps you might move, exercise, do some movement, whatever. Allow yourself to be intuitively guided and don't get too caught up in the emotional, I feel terrible, I just want to lie still. Sometimes when we feel terrible, I'm not saying that it's a should, but sometimes when we don't feel like moving, it actually serves us to move. It actually serves us to move and get the energy moving. I know this for myself. Sometimes I have to really be strong with myself to do my yoga practice, not from a mental rule of I should do it. It's proper for me to do it. Not from that sort of idea of mental discipline, but from a deep inner knowing that actually movement now would really serve me, even though I don't feel like it. Same with eating. Sometimes it really serves me not to eat, and sometimes it really serves me to eat. And sometimes I don't feel like doing either of those two things. Sometimes I feel like eating because it's going to emotionally state me, but I know that it's not going to serve me. And sometimes I don't feel like eating, don't have much hunger at all, but I know that putting something in me is going to ground me and make me feel better. So we have to be willing to go with what we know deep within us, our intuitive knowing, and override what we feel emotionally, and sometimes override what we think mentally is the right thing to do. So we need to be willing to step past our judgments, we need to be willing to step past the rules, and we need to be willing to step past our emotional resistance to doing things as well. So I know it's not always easy to honor our deeper knowing. Even to recognize our deeper knowing can be very difficult when we've got so much surface stuff going on, especially when we're sort of triggered into layers of stress, when our body's hurting all of a sudden for no good reason. That obviously is going to worry us on a level and trigger levels of stress. So it's most importantly to get the intuitive guidance as to how to move forward. It's to invest time in doing practices that help you release stress response. So deep breathing, meditative type practices, remembering to consciously choose to relax with each exhalation. Where are we up to? I'm trying to get up to more from Donna. Also huge, I'm acutely aware of my vulnerability, as if I were 14. This too, very unusual, like aware of the heart, others' approval, just aware in a good way with consciousness. That sounds awesome, Donna. Not always comfortable, of course, but awesome. So relax into allowing that. Awesome, Mary. I'm glad you feel that I'm correct and it's time for you to move on. Not that I need to be correct, but I'm glad you feel resonance, and moving on would serve you. Eve also had massive dramas at art school. I needed to spend months recovering from the stress. Yeah, that's the last thing you need from art school. Art is supposed to be an opportunity for you to express yourself in creative ways. The idea of schooling people in art is where it all goes horribly wrong, right? Yeah, I know there's techniques and I know there's techniques that are valuable to learn, but frig, it's of all the things to put stress around, to try and put stress around doing art correctly, right? To try and do creativity correctly based on a mental set of rules and regulations is just crazy, right? They're trying to scrunch the life out of every opportunity we have to express ourselves. Awesome, Donna. Yes. Just listen to what you know and be willing to do it. And if you choose to start movement and then you really feel resistant to it, then maybe stop, and vice versa. You might be really resistant to it, start just a little bit, and then actually feel, actually, this is making me feel really good, and then get into it a bit more. Yeah. So, Mary, there's not much to learn. Art is a practice. Like everything, when we practice it, we get better at it. And sure, you can use, and I'm sure there are many opportunities for tutorials and stuff on different techniques online. I'm sure. Exactly, Maggie. Those are the thoughts to school in general. That's exactly right. They scrunch the light. They scrunch the shit out of life because they limit who we be. They're trying to shoehorn us into what's appropriate, right? There's all these external rules around what's appropriate, and then we try and educate our students into it, and we even do it with art. How crazy, right? Where we should just be encouraging people to express themselves in expansive ways in all sorts of medium, and allowing whatever they produce to be quote unquote excellent. Because if it's a true expression, then that's it. Yeah, exactly, Mary. So be willing to practice at home, because then I know it's nice to get out of home and go somewhere where there's community, but maybe you could start, maybe there's someone you know who you could enjoy doing art with, right? And you could maybe swap homes or whatever, or meet somewhere, rather than that school, because that school seemed quite strong. So be willing to open up and advertise and put a thing on Facebook or something saying, hey, if you're in my area and you resonate with me and you want to spend time doing our art together, then we can do this, right? Or whatever. Be open to other opportunities for you to develop supportive community around your artistic endeavors, and not need to go to a quote unquote school where it's kind of, obviously that you don't fit in. What else, friends? I thought I was like under the pump then, because all those comments came in, but I've actually caught up and we still have 3 or 4 minutes of chat with Matt. And please, if I've missed something, just shout out again, because I don't. Sister Kelly, beautiful butterflies or dragonflies. Dragonflies, I think. Yeah, anything else, my friends? Anything else? Weather here is typically unbalanced equinox weather. Windy and raining, and stormy and unsettled. That's the equinox, right? The opposite to what we want. So whatever you're getting, and not just weather-wise. Oh, my crystals. Do I still have sleep packages? Yeah, I still have the sleep package. That's still available, I'm pretty sure, through Carey, or if you reach out to me, I can probably hook you up personally with that. Would love to know about your crystals. There's not much to tell about my crystals. I just have a bunch of crystals that sort of surf the table with me. They're nothing, super exciting. They're just sort of polished palm stones that I use a lot. So, quartz, rose quartz, selenite, tiger's eye, bit of sodalite, bit of amethyst. Where's my... I've got something I usually have in my hands a lot. Of course, I can't find right now. Is it behind my computer? No. Wonder where that's gone. Anyway. Oh, there it is. It's right over there. I can't reach that far. So I've got a green one. And I've got a black one. And I've got another black one. I know that one's definitely shungite. I can't... that's obsidian. I think that's malachite. But anyway, I don't even know the names of them, but I just like playing with them. It was blue. Yeah, it was probably the sodalite. Was I using that the other day? I might have been using that the other day. It's really good for... I find it really good for helping expression, throat chakra stuff. Yeah, so sodalite. Again, I don't get too mental on crystals. Like, I don't read a lot of stuff about them. I used to a little bit, I guess. But now I just have them available, and I tend to pick up things that feel appropriate for whatever I'm doing. So that's how I use crystals. It's quite intuitive. My son is a great example of this. He knows exactly what crystal he needs for any particular, comfort, whatever's going on. And he'll quite often have a couple of them under his pillow or whatever, which is not usual for a 19-year-old boy, but there you go. We're not all usual, are we? So, yeah, I'm not so contracted around crystals. They're not a should, and they're not a necessity. They're just something that I enjoy and something that I like, and something that gives me something to do with my hands. When quite often I'm, when I'm doing light language for half an hour or so at a time, it's nice just to have something tactile that I can play with, and it feels good, feels supportive to whatever I'm doing. Keeps me entertained while I'm kind of out of my mind. So my throat chakra often tightens when connecting with my heart. Why? Well, that's a good question, Sheena. I'm not exactly sure why. I can have some guesses that when you connect into your heart, you feel you have things to express, right? Your heart has things to express, and you don't feel safe to do so. Young people are special, that's true, Eve. So I wouldn't worry about it, but I would just keep choosing to remind yourself that you are safe to express what you know in your heart. And so that's not necessarily going to make your throat chakra feel comfortable. In fact, it might make it feel a little bit worse to start with, but over time you will move through that limitation and restriction and find yourself able to express more and more what you feel in your heart, which is an awesome thing for all of us to do. That's what we're really here to be, a more heartfelt expression of ourselves. But we've got into trouble for doing that so many times in the past, and quite often our throat chakra has been overly affected with that, persecution type experiences around expressing. Exactly, Kelly, you are safe to express what you know in your heart. And if you find the desire to use some crystals to help you with that, you can. You can. So just even talking about it, I'm not sure what I'm clearing for you, sister. All of a sudden, I've got contraction around my throat, which is not a wrongness at all, because I know it will pass very soon. But interesting that you talk about a contraction in your throat, then all of a sudden my throat starts contracting. Which is very common for us who are empathic and of a healing intention. And the point is not to contract around that. What are you writing about masks, Maggie? Sheena, maybe you are contracting with mass consciousness. Masks don't assist us in speaking our truth. Oh yeah. Yep, maybe. But I don't think, hey Gary, I don't think that's particularly correct for you, Sheena. I don't think you're clearing mask consciousness with a contracted throat. I think it's more to do with feeling safe to express what you know in your heart. Mask consciousness is not likely to cause issue in your throat. Well, maybe for some of us. We're clear on that stuff, but it's not nearly as hard. Mass consciousness stuff is sliding through pretty easy these days. It's what mass consciousness stuff triggers deeply within us that generally causes more resistance. Most of you guys who are on this call are mature enough to deal with mass consciousness stuff pretty easy. We recognize it for what it is, and it flows through our fields quite comfortably. But what it does do is it then triggers our own stuff that is far more personal and so more so much more deeply ingrained. Exactly, this situation's been going on for much longer than the mask issue. But the mask issue or any external issue can highlight our deeper resistances, which is an awesome opportunity then to move through our deeper resistances. Trust, Sister Sheena. Trust that the contraction in your throat's not a wrongness. It's not something going wrong. It is something clearing. It is something, it's the energy pushing through long-standing resistances that have been based in past life persecution type experiences that are no longer relevant for you to carry forward. So you're getting the opportunity to move beyond it. And your job is to stay relaxed when you feel the contraction in your throat, and just to choose to keep reminding yourself that you are safe to express your deeper heart wisdom. And in time, you will progress. And that does involve being willing to take risky maneuvers, to take the risky choices to actually express yourself more than what you might like to, right? To step past the resistance to doing that expression, and really just owning who you are. Because our throat is not just about what we speak, it's about who we be. It really is how we express ourselves in the world, which is not just vocal expression, right? It's in our beingness, it's how we dress, it's how we act, it's how we are perceived by others, how we allow others to perceive us, right? This is all throat chakra stuff. The persona that we are wearing and maintain is all throat chakra stuff. During times of it, I'll read it down here. This is from Gary. During times of elevation into higher awareness, increased integration, comfort in one's own skin, would it be common to experience awakening at early hours, getting less sleep? Like, yeah, we've been talking about sleep quite a bit on this call, Gary. Getting less sleep, like down to 4 hours a night for periods of time. Yes, exactly. So we're spending, and I know I am spending quite a bit of time during the night. I know I've got to finish this up soon, my friends, because I've got another call starting soon and my half an hour is well up, but I will keep going. Awesome question, Stephanie. I will get to that. So yes, Gary, it's quite common to spend periods of time where we spend more time awake at night. It's an opportunity to be conscious during our practice, conscious during the process of whatever we're releasing and moving through. So most importantly, don't contract into the wrongness of I should be sleeping more. Do your best to stay restful while you are awake. So like, don't get up and start using your iPad or something crazy like that. Choose not to get too tossing and turning. Choose to let go of stress that then exacerbates the situation. For me, it's all about lying still, doing my breathing, doing my mental practices, doing my mantras. And, you know, I know you've got plenty of things that you can be doing while you are awake at night. So, don't make it wrong. Choose to know that doing your practices, maintaining a relaxed attitude towards the experience, you're getting more than enough rest for your body. You will generally, because we're releasing a lot of density at the moment, feel quite tired during the day. I know I've been feeling tired for the last week or so, particularly intensely. Maybe not the whole week. It's been since about Friday last week. The weekend and thus far this week, I've been carrying quite a lot of quote-unquote tiredness. Feels tired. It's okay. It's okay. Trust that everything will keep changing. Nothing's gone wrong. It's just a phase. Yeah, exactly. It is kind of annoying because the nights seem really long. It's a really long time lying in bed doing your practice for hours on end when you'd much rather be asleep and then just wake up and go, oh, that was great. I'm ready to go. So just be an allowance of the situation. And yeah, as Stephanie says, if we do need to nap during the day, that's fine. I don't particularly enjoy napping during the day because I tend to feel even worse after I do that, in my experience, but that's just me perhaps. But so there's no rights and wrongs. The point is not to contract around the idea that this is a long-term thing. And, you know, because I know there's a lot of information out there that we should be getting at least 7.5, 8 hours sleep a night to be healthy. But contracting into that really doesn't help. Really doesn't help. And making ourselves wrong and then getting stressed that we're not getting enough sleep, that doesn't actually help us sleep more. So exactly, don't look at your cell phone. Don't even put your cell phone in the room. It is difficult to maintain that discipline, to not want to know what time it is when you wake up, but it really doesn't help. In my opinion, it doesn't help to know what time it is. Whatever time you wake up, just assume it's a perfect time to do some practice and stay as calm as you can. And what I find is generally I do fall back to sleep at some stage, which might be quite close to when I need to get up. It might be quite close to when I need to get up. But anyway, that's just how it is. And the more that we can trust, the more that we're going to do better. Did I miss something else? I know Sister Stephanie Day wrote something that I haven't caught up with yet. Awesome, Sheena. What does it mean when around someone I find myself losing my voice even though they have said nothing, but feels as though something has entered in? Yeah, it's probably, you're very, I know, Stephanie, you're very sensitive to others' energy, and you're probably picking up that they're quite, in some way, their energy feels abusive to you. That might not necessarily mean be a slight on their character in this lifetime, but generally it'll be something to do with past lifetime relationship with them. And so you don't feel safe to express yourself in their presence. For whatever reason, their vibration carries a warning sign that what you say could be used against you. That might not be true, right? That might not be true, because in today's energy, it's a lot different to how it was before. But generally, you're probably still carrying some of the fears around being persecuted for speaking your truth, being visible in who you be as a being of light. And so you're recognizing certain people who potentially were in cahoots, not, I don't even want to say that, not that they're dark beings, but just that they may have, out of their own self-preservation, which many people did, right, are willing to dob in others who were, quote unquote, not following the rules. So many people are carrying this energy where they're not trustworthy for those of us who are beings of light. They're likely to want to dob us into the authorities at the time because that helped them feel safe in themselves. And so, the next minute we're getting dragged out of our house and burned at the stake kind of thing. Right? So you're just recognizing that these people aren't completely trustworthy for you to share your light with them. Over time, you will get, you'll be strong enough in your knowing that it won't worry you, and you won't feel such a contraction and loss of voice. Okay, so I'm glad I got to that question. Okay, Gary, could you recommend a collection of plants? What types to have in the bedroom? A Bowen treatment room to facilitate high vibrational energy in the room. I can't actually, Gary. I don't have that knowledge, at least not at my fingertips. I would, just like the way I choose my crystals, I would be willing to not get too intellectual about what plants you should choose, but rather go to a nursery and feel what plants feel most appropriate, and be willing to trust your innate knowing as opposed to any intellectual body of knowledge, right? Be willing to trust your innate knowing. I'm sure if you Googled it, you would get a list of plants. If you put, plants that are best for in the bedroom, for health in the bedroom or something like that, you would get a list of those. But again, ultimately, it's about resonance with you, and you are a unique individual, and I'm not saying in a bad way, but we all are, right? We're all unique individuals, and certain plants are going to have certain resonances with us. I've heard English ivy and yucca. Yeah, I can't comment on the specifics, but I would encourage you to go and have a look at those plants and actually pick them up and hold them in the pot and just ask, are you, is this for my highest and best good to have you in the bedroom, right? And trust, you'll feel it. You'll feel the resonance. You'll feel the yes or a no with whether those particular plants are really going to serve you. So trust your knowing. This is the time for us to all get out of our heads and out of this body of intellectual knowledge and into our hearts and into our divine intuitive wisdom that we all carry, right? Even men, even us men, we have male intuition, and it's time that we use it. It's time that we use it. Okay, my friends, I have gone well over time. Hopefully I've answered everything. Apologies if I've missed something. I will be back again next week. If you missed the hour of light language that we just did, or the 45 minutes of light language that we, that's right, you are unique just like everyone else, Gary. If you missed the Equinox broadcast. It is free. It is in this feed, either above or below. There's the link to the whatever it's called, Instant Teleseminar event link. Just click on that. It will go to the replay. There are 2 recordings there now. There's the whole call as the first one. The second will be a bit shorter, but it's in a higher quality, and it's just missing the front blurb, and it's missing the follow-up at the end. But if you're just interested in more of the light language experience, it's there in a higher quality recording. I think it's about 50 minutes, and the other call is about an hour 11, or thereabouts. Anyway, much love. If you guys have any questions at any time, please, I'm glad that resonated, Stephanie. Please just reach out, right? Use this group, type in a question or a request or whatever, and we will do our best to answer. And if or not, I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but show up next week and put something in, and we can have a chat then. Much love. Bye for now. Bye-bye.